What's good, fam? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are discussing, does your work define you? And this question really gets into so many things about burnout, things about our relationships, things about childhood, all of these conversations. So let's get into it. So when I was an undergrad, a big thing for me was trying to figure out, how do I balance my work and all my other interests in life, and also not let my work be my entire identity. And even up to now, people will tell me that they admire that I make time for dance and other things or whatever. And it's unfortunate for me because I'm like, we all should be making time for other things that we love. And contrary to what they say, our work does not have to be the forefront of our identity or the thing that we think about and do 24/7, and it should not be at all. I honestly think a lot of this stems from our childhood. For overachievers like myself especially, a lot of our validation and our identity in our family structures were around the work that we did, right? We came home with a nice report card, show it to our parents, and receive some type of affirmation from there. So there was kind of like a transaction of, you do good in school and therefore you receive our praise, you receive affirmation and love, etc. And after internalizing that type of validation about our work, as we get older, we might start to do things like pour our everything into our work with the hope of that giving us our purpose and defining us and showing us who we are. Or sometimes we might even use our work to run from our problems or run from our emotions, because the work is something that we know how to do. The work is something that is consistent, right? And unfortunately, that is not a healthy way to live life. And I'm not trying to preach or whatever. I obviously don't have it all together, but it's something that I've learned. And there's so much beauty in life and things to enjoy that for us to make our entire lives all about our work, we lose out. Why is this chair squeaking? Let's have a little reflection moment together. You can close your eyes or not, whatever, I don't know. And I just want you to think about, what's your relationship with your work right now? And now I want you to think about, if that is the way it was for the rest of your life, would you be happy with that? You see, the thing is, a lot of what we do now in grad school, or at this point in our life, is a practice for how we're going to have a relationship with our work moving forward. If we are bringing our work with us home, which kind of has to happen in grad school, but to the extent that it interferes with your well-being and your relationships with others, that's something that needs to be questioned. But if you're bringing it into your household, if you're bringing it into your relationships in negative ways, or letting it hinder you from living your life fully, then maybe it's time for all of us to just kind of reevaluate the situation just a little bit, Because once again, it is a practice, and if we're not practicing from now on how to have a healthier relationship with our work, it's going to be harder to just kind of switch it all overnight moving forward, right? So let's figure out little baby steps together as we go. Hold hands, okay? Hold my hand. Okay, so one, I think a big thing is prioritizing rest. We have a mindset of like, the grind, wake up, get this bread, get this grain, all that stuff. And as motivating as that can be sometimes, I guess, it kind of creates this toxic idea that we have to constantly be going and constantly be on 100 in order to be successful. And anything that goes on constantly will burn out. So for the sake of all of our mental health, I think it's incredibly important for us to think about what forms of rest we need. For some people, that's sleep. I think everyone needs sleep, but some people function better or worse with a certain amount of sleep versus others. Whether that's time to watch TV or read or go for a walk or just like sit and stare at walls, because why not? Figure out ways to structure that time into your day. I have been at points in this grad school program where I've had to like schedule in eat into my Google Calendar so that I remember to eat. And it's insane that that's the level we have to be at, like remembering to do basic human functions in grad school. So the more that we can normalize rest and caring for ourselves in this process, I think the healthier we'd all be as a community, right? As a community. So yeah, prioritize rest and normalize it. So 2, prioritize relationships. And no, I don't just mean romantic relationships, all of our relationships. We are who we are and we are where we are because of relationships, right? And I think unfortunately, so many of us, when we entered grad school, kind of just like, there was a wall, we are focused inside of our walls on our work, and anything else that's happening can happen far away from us because we need to focus, right? And the thing is, right, like the people who are going to be the ones who end up supporting you when you feel alone, when things go wrong, are the people in your life, right? And we can't expect people to invest in us if we don't invest in them. I think it's super important for us to prioritize the time that we have with each other, because the work is always going to be there and it will get done, and it almost always, if not always, gets done, right? One way or another. Even during the times that we're like, shit, how is this gonna get done? It gets done. So I think we should value the precious time that we have with folks in our lives and just show them that they are loved, because even for me, like, I sometimes even feel re-energized after pouring into my relationships. So I'll like give my best friend a call or FaceTime my little sister, go out for coffee with one of my friends or something. Just things that remind you that you are a person and there are people in your life who love you and care about you. And despite how this grad school situation might be going, that you will be okay and you will be supported and all that good mushy-gushy stuff, you know? And the last thing, like, explore your curiosities, right? I don't know, I think for me, I've joked around saying like my PhD is gonna be my side hustle, right? And what I mean by that is that there's so many other things I love and I'm passionate about that I want to explore, that I don't want my PhD to be like, or the program and what I'm studying to be the only thing going in my life, right? Like, there's so many things that we don't know what is going to happen. Like, what if our career changes or something like that, and the thing that we decided to hold on to define us is no longer there? Like, what else do you have going for you in your life, right? And I think once we became adults, we let go of this notion that of wonder and curiosity and exploration and imagination that we had as kids. And I think it's beautiful to see people who kind of tap into their inner child and just see the world as like a big canvas. And I know I sound very corny right now, but stick with me. So if you are, I don't know, I'm in like public health or whatever, like what's something that has nothing to do with public health that I can engage with, right? Obviously for me it's dancing, but there's like, I don't know, painting and writing and drawing and all of these stuff that I don't even know if I'm quote unquote good at, but like it brings me joy. So explore those things and make time to explore those things, because otherwise the only thing in our lives is going to be our work. And even when we sit back and decide, I'm not going to work today, we end up not knowing what to do with our time. But I think if we kind of structure time for these forms of exploration, that we'll see that there's so much joy to be had in the world, and things that we might actually figure out that we're good at, or things that we might not be good at but we love doing anyways. So yeah, like, we can make time for other things, we can make time for people in our lives, we can make time for ourselves. For me, I've like tried in this most recent semester to structure time on building a relationship with God and just being more intentional about the relationships in my life and where my energy pours into. I think it's made me better in terms of where I find my value and my purpose, but also just where my community and source of love and support is coming from, and me wanting to pour energy into that as opposed to focusing on things that drain me, which at some points might be work and some points might not. But my work is usually better when I am in a good headspace, when I am feeling full and energized and all of these great things. So the only way that we can do our work is if we are good, right? And the only way that we can be good is if we prioritize ourselves and the people who fill us up. So I'm rambling at this point, but you get the idea, right? Yeah. So there's a quote on my wall and it says, the degree to which a person can grow is directly proportional to the amount of truth that they can accept about themselves without running away. So reflect on this, see if you're running away from your problems in life, from your emotions, from the people in your life by diving into your work. See if there are spaces for you to grow in your relationship with yourself and with your work. Yeah, but other than that, I tried my hand at doing some edges. It's subpar, but we're getting there. With that said, be well, fam.